very interesting show, a very pertinent show. And actually, it's about a subject that is very personal to me. So not many people know this about me, but I was involved for several years in a domestic abusive relationship where I was the one being abused. And over 2.5 year period, I got hospitalized 13 times. I was stabbed, I was run over, and I was even threatened several times with a knife to my throat. And I was also nearly strangled to death by an ex-partner as well. So it's very fortunately, it's something that I got away from and I escaped. But unfortunately, there are cases out there where this doesn't always happen. And it is very important for us as an organization to be able to support the groups and organizations, the charities and the trusts that help support people, women and men against domestic violence. So we're joined today by a fantastic member of ours who we absolutely love and adore and enjoy working with, who has recently started working with a trust very, very prudent around this subject. So should we bring her up?
Let's go.
Let's do it. So our first guest coming out is the lovely Jodie Fraser. She's from a charity, from an organisation called Fraser Allen, which is a property management company. Jodie, welcome.
Hi.
So don't tell us too much a moment, because I don't want to ruin the thunder from our next guest. But you started working with this organisation that is aimed around keeping people safe and keeping people secure within the realms of domestic abuse and domestic violence. Just very quickly, what got you into working with this particular organisation? Why is it so important to you?
Well, it was actually more initially around their app. So they've got an app called Hollie Guard, which is designed to be able to record things in terms of any abuse, any domestic abuse, any stalking, bullying, that sort of thing. You can record it on this app. And it was that caught my attention initially, because within the property management industry, it's not always the safest place to be. And I've certainly found that you have evening meetings and you go alone, you go to people's homes, and I'm sure everybody is lovely most of the time, but there's always that one occasion where they might not be. And it was something that I felt could be brought into my business in order to safeguard the staff. So that's really why I wanted to talk to Nick and to talk to the trust about getting involved.
Fantastic. So obviously then you've reached out to us in order to help and promote this. And as I'm sure you can understand, we're all over that because it is a fantastic, I was doing some research on it earlier on, and it looks like an absolutely epic app. So look, I can't do it any justice. I don't think you could do it as much justice as our next guest. So let's bring him out. The charity trust itself is called the Hollie Gazzard Trust, and we're joined by Hollie's father, Nick. Nick, welcome to the show. It's absolutely lovely to have you here. I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. I wish you had never been a guest on the show. I wish that you didn't have to have this trust in place. And please accept my condolences for the story that you're about to share with us. So tell us a little bit about how the Hollie Gazzard Trust started.
Of course, yeah. Well, good evening, and hopefully the tech will stick. Back in 2013, my daughter got into a relationship which was very unhealthy, and to cut a long story short, when she managed to finish with this person, he went into the salon one day where Hollie worked, and he stabbed her to death. She was working in that salon, doing the job she loved, when he walked in. And ever since that time, I've always thought that Hollie was too good an individual just to let go. She had too much about her. She wanted to open her own salon. She was very business orientated, and she was robbed of that by this particular individual. And Hollie is not alone in this subject. As you pointed out right at the start, there are a lot of people that are affected by domestic abuse and stalking. Some of them are unfortunate, like Hollie, lose their lives. Others manage to escape, but many, many more live in relationships which are very, very abusive. So I wanted to do something about this, and therefore I started the trust just a couple of months after Hollie.
Oh, it looks like we've lost Nick there
Lost
for a second.
Yeah, live.
Back, Nick, back.
And the aim at that stage was to try.
We appear to be having a few technical issues on the side. Nick, are you still there, mate? Can you still hear us?
And no. Try and prevent.
Yeah, it looks like we've had a few technical issues there. So, so basically, just to kind of fill in the space until we get Nick back in the room. So, Nick's daughter was, by the sounds of it, brutally taken by an ex-partner, and it's an horrific story when you hear about something like that. And I read up, so I had a look online about it, and I just looked to identify some of the stuff. So whilst we're trying to, we're just going to drop Nick out for a second until we can get him reconnected. Jodie, what do you know about the actual app itself? So I know that you've been looking into it as well, and it's something that's very close to both of us, isn't it? Charlotte was in a verbally abusive relationship. I was in a physically abusive relationship. Tell us a little bit more about what you know around the app and the business. And if we can't get Nick back on, we will always create another show. Maybe we'll get him here in the studio. So tell us a little bit about the app and how it's going to work for you and your business.
Okay, I mean, from my perspective, having the app within the business is really something that I want to not just push within my business, but try and get the education out there into other businesses, and try and get the app used in across the property industry as a whole. I think it's really, really important to me, and I think what I've heard about other apps is that they do have a reporting structure, and they do go back to line managers or contact centers within the company.
Yeah.
But what happens if you're being bullied or stalked or sexually harassed by somebody within the company or by your line manager or something like that? There is always that aspect. So to have it so internal is a little bit of a worry. So from what Nick has told me about the app is that it's a 24/7 monitoring option to have on the app that goes to an external police approved department. Yeah. So there's none of this. You can't hide from it. If somebody says that they're being, I've had it in the past. I've had sexual harassment in the past, and my employers didn't believe me. And then all of a sudden, when I made a complaint, the emails just disappeared. Whereas if I'd had this app, that wouldn't have, the disappearing act wouldn't have happened ultimately. And the same when I was being bullied quite badly in the workplace and in school, if that app was around at the time, everything could have been logged. And then when I was attacked, I could have potentially used that as evidence, and the attacker may have got more of a punishment.
This app is something I think you need across the board in all industries. So my background is hospitality and events, and often you work really late nights. And I actually had a girl who was in an abusive relationship. He used to wait for her after work, and he was into drugs, and he would wait for his next fix, and she didn't have the money there, and then he would get abusive. So an app like that would be so helpful, but not just, you know, for property industry, for hospitality industry, events, all of those kind of things. So can you download it really easily, and how logs everything then, does it?
Yeah, so you can download it. You can download it for free from your app store, whatever device you use. And then there is an additional paid for service, which is what includes the 24/7 monitoring. And Nick would have explained that much better than I can right now. However, you know, it's just having that app that you can start registering things, and you can just tap it if there's, you know, if you feel nervous or scared, or you can shake the phone if you're in distress. And it's such a good piece of technology, and I'm not technically minded at all. So it's just unbelievable what they've done and what the trust has done and the education that they provide. And I just really wanted to get involved.
Because it's not, I mean, look, I can understand it in your industry, right? In a, you know, a woman working alone industry, right? Let's just say that. But it doesn't just cover what you're doing, right? It also covers carers, it covers cleaners, domestic staff. You know, there's lots of different elements which this particular, I mean, even in the nursing industry, potentially, you know, there's lots of areas which this application and software can work. And
I mean, from my perspective, it was more, I saw it as like a lone worker's protection in some respect. You know, as I said earlier, you go into people's homes. You know, the trust works really closely with the Susie Lamplugh Trust following, you know, her murder 30 odd years ago. And it's you know, we don't want to scare our staff, and we don't want to be scaremongers or anything like that. But I just want to really push the fact that I want to make property management safe and property managers safe. And this was just, I saw this and it was just perfect.
Fantastic.
So I think we've got Nick.
I think we've just got Nick back in. Nick is back in the room. Yes. Nick, we've been carrying on without you. We, you know, Jodie saved the day about it.
So we were talking about the app, but it would be nice to have a little bit of an insight of, you know, who you work with and how the trust works and that sort of thing as well, and the development that you've done and what you're looking to do.
Okay, if I tell you a little bit about the trust first. We created it back in 2014 following the murder of Hollie. And the main aim then was to try and help individuals who are suffering from these heinous crimes like stalking and domestic abuse, you know, very, very much like Hollie was subjected to. You know, we have 4 staff, 3 part-time, 1 full-time, and we get all our money from businesses or training that we deliver. We deliver a number of different training programs to businesses. And the rest of it comes from the general public. You know, we're not statutory funded. We get no funding from the government, so we have to raise all the money ourselves. But one of the flagships that we have is the Hollie Guard app, as probably Jodie has mentioned to you. And this really is a general safeguarding app. And we've developed it to now branch out into businesses because we see it as a huge tool for businesses to help safeguard their employees, because it has a lot of functionality which is going to be very, very useful for businesses. For example, individuals who go out on site, individuals who meet clients away perhaps at unusual times. You know, we've got dark evenings. So there are lots of different types of functionality within the app. Things like the journey feature, which you can put in the start and the end points of the journey, and your emergency contacts can see where you are along that journey all the time in real time. If you want to activate the app, all you do is shake it, and that starts to record voice and video. So you've got automatically evidence there of what's happening. And your emergency contacts, whether that's your employer or friend or family member, they can see what's happening in real time. So they can take immediate action. So if it's an individual going to meet a client and they've got into trouble, all they do is shake the phone. That goes through to either their employer or to a 24/7 monitoring service, which is police approved, and they can take immediate action based on what they're seeing and hearing from Hollie Guard itself. As Jodie Yeah, as Jodie mentioned, the outset, it's also got a reporting tool which you can log all incidents that have happened to you. You can attach files, take photographs. It geotags it, it date stamps it. You know, and all this evidence is admissible in court because we've worked with the Crown Prosecution Service to make sure that we hold it, transmit it to the police in the right kind of way. You know, so we're starting to work with businesses now. It's really difficult to get into businesses. So, you know, we're hoping someone like Jodie will give us that foot up and can get us into various businesses where we believe this is really a game changer to help keep employees safe. You know, we work with 15 different police forces. They endorse the app for victims of crime, and many other forces who recommend it as well. So we've got a lot of coverage out there, but it's the business area I think that we need to make sure that we can get into so that we can help keep these employees safe.
Well, yeah, sorry, Charlotte.
It's an absolutely incredible tool. So we touched when you were away and we lost signal for a bit. We touched on all the different sort of, you know, like carers, nurses, all of those hospitality when you're working late. So it's really going to be about spreading the word out there and how we can help to do that. But it's really, really easy to download, isn't it? So tell us a little bit of how to do that.
Yeah, we first of all, we work with people like the London Ambulance Service as well, and various other NHS trusts. Very simple. Go to the App Store, whether it's Android or iPhone. Search for Hollie Guard and just download the app. It takes 2 minutes. And what you do then is you create your account, and your account is not saved on the phone; it's saved in the cloud. So if someone stole your phone or got hold of it, they looked into Hollie Guard, they wouldn't see anything in there, because all the evidence that we start to accrue gets sent to your account in the cloud. So that's a real safety feature. But the other thing is that if we have to give that evidence to the police under the Data Protection Act on investigation, we can download the file and we can give it to them. There's no longer any need for you to hand over your phone, which is another big advantage. So very, very simple. Download it from the relevant app store, set up your account, and then you're ready to start personalizing Hollie Guard to suit your individual requirements.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's something that I think as an organisation we would like to get involved with, certainly through our connections and our contacts. And there's you know, we work with several cleaning agencies, we work with recruitment agencies. So there's an area that we can kind of get involved with this. I'd be more interested to find out more. And I think something like this product, what would really be useful is to have an actual live show where we bring you into the studio and we sit down, and then we can show and demonstrate some of what this app can do. But I think it's absolutely brilliant. I know we had a few technical issues over streaming there, Nick, but of course we won't get those technical issues when we start putting the app out there. But I do want to thank you for coming and talking to us and giving us a little bit of an insight of what it is. And Jodie, I'd like to thank you for bringing this to our attention, because it is definitely something, it works very, very closely with what we do. And especially when we've got a lot of solopreneurs that, you know, this is a worry for them and they feel at risk sometimes. So it's something that can actually go out into the smaller business world as well. And I definitely think it's something that as an organisation we would like to know more about and get more involved in. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. I think it's really well done to what you've done, and I really hope that we can help to spread the word and work with you, because and yes, thank you, Jodie, for bringing it to our attention. And
all right,
we really need to have another sort of chat about how we can support you.
So I think the last thing we need to do before we all go on our merry way is, Nick, if I want to download this app right now, I mean, I know that it's aimed towards domestic violence against women, but I am a survivor of domestic violence. So, you know, I want to promote out there that it is openly available for men and women.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important. If I wanted to download this app onto my phone today, how would I do that?
Very, very simple. Go to your relevant app store, whether it's Apple or whether it's Android. Search for Hollie Guard and just download the app. And then you can click into the app and you can start personalizing it. And it's very, very, very simple. We have a couple of websites. We have hollieguard.com, which has a lot of information. We have hollieguard.co.uk, which is for businesses to sign up to. Or you can go to our website, holliegazzard.org, and all three sites have information about Hollie Guard. So, it's very, very simple. It's a simple concept, but actually it's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. So if anyone is watching this on replay, then just please put replay and your question. And if there's any questions to either of us, I know that all of us would be very happy to answer any questions, or how to download, or if you are in a domestic or abusive relationship and you want to be confidential and ask any questions, then please do get in touch. You're not alone out there, and we can all help you in one way or another just by you getting in touch with one of us. So do get in touch, and thank you both so much for being here with us today. Really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Take care. Goodbye, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.